Hello, and welcome to Automate Office Work, the show that helps you get started automating your office work. I'm your host, Justin, a tech-savvy lawyer. I started on the same journey you are on, and I'm here to help you. Today's episode is Let's Get Rid of Your Spreadsheet Chaos. You can find the content for today's video as an article at automateofficework.com/spreadsheetkiller, no spaces. This show is a podcast, YouTube channel, and a LinkedIn live event every Friday. Welcome to our live audience on LinkedIn. Feel free to leave comments on LinkedIn during the show. I'll also try to leave time at the end to invite anyone who wants to come on and chat. So, spreadsheets are a very common problem. It all starts out very simple. We just want to have an easy spreadsheet where we can track information. It works for a while, but then the chaos begins. If you're ready to transition to a smarter database-driven solution, you've come to the right place. But let's start out with the problem. Excel makes it incredibly easy to create a quick spreadsheet for tracking data, whether it's litigation cases, compliance activities, or managing a list of distributors or vendors or whatever else. It's intuitive and accessible, but then the inevitable happens. Other departments hear about your spreadsheet, and they want to add their columns of data. Soon, dozens of departments and hundreds of users are editing the same spreadsheet file. Your spreadsheet goes global, with teams from around the world making updates. Before you know it, chaos ensues. There are several problems with Excel. The first is data visibility issues. Everyone sees all the data, regardless of what's relevant to them. Uncontrolled edits. Anyone can change anything, even by mistake. No data validation. Garbage data creeps in and you're left with errors everywhere. No access control. You can't limit what users can view or edit. No history tracking. There's no audit trail. So you can't trace who made changes or when. And lastly, no accountability. You don't know if people are actually updating the data as required. The result, a disorganized, unreliable, unmanageable spreadsheet that feels impossible to fix. The solution, of course, is to transition to a database-driven solution, one like in SharePoint. One that I will describe here in words, but you can also come on to LinkedIn or the YouTube video, and you can see my solution in action as I'm describing it, as I'm describing the perfect solution. The perfect solution is not a spreadsheet, like I said, but a database-driven solution, something where the data is in discrete packets in a database. Okay, so how does this look from the viewer's point of view? Actually, it doesn't look that much different on the homepage. On the homepage, you see the exact same data arranged in a table like a spreadsheet. The difference is that the user can only see the data that we want them to see. Perhaps you have different countries of data. You only want your German users to see the German data, and you can do that with a database. Also, you might say that these different departments with their different data, they might want to have their data only visible by members of their department. And with the database solution, you can do that. You can hide the columns of data that don't need to be visible to everybody else. Okay, so that is just the homepage. The homepage looks pretty much the same. Now, how do we get data into this? Well, at the top of my solution, I have a life cycle of the data. You don't just let everybody do everything all at once. There has to be an order of how to get data into the system. And along the top of mine, I have a little visualization of this life cycle. There are 5 steps. The very first step is that there has to be a matter intake step. Okay? This step is only accessible to people who you want adding data. Maybe you don't want everybody with access to be able to add new data, but only certain people, maybe only a certain department from each country. Okay, so we can lock that down. And when they go to put in new matter as a new row, you don't just give them a row and let them put in anything. No, we're going to present them with an intake form. And so the different columns of data that they can put in, we're going to restrict it. You don't just let them type in anything. As much as you can, we're going to restrict this to drop-down menus and perhaps checkboxes. If it's asking for a date, we're going to give them a date picker instead of just letting them type in, I don't know, or leaving things blank. We're going to get the exact data that we need from them from the beginning. And you only allow them to submit the new matter intake form when they have filled it in properly. Okay. The next step is an initial review. This initial review goes to somebody who is in a certain department in your country who is the initial reviewer, who needs to review every single new matter request. Okay, this person is going to be checking to make sure that there are no obvious errors like typing in Mickey Mouse for a person's name or whatever. They're also going to be when they do this check, they're going to send it out for the required approvals. You might have certain departments. You might say like, oh, HR or finance has to approve every single new submission. Okay, so those are your mandatory approvers. And I'll show you in my setup, I have all of these countries and departments all indicated with people. We also have certain columns of data, say like we have a financial risk on my spreadsheet, and the financial risk can be set to low, medium, and high. If the financial risk is set to high, I want it to go to an extra approval step. I call this an escalatory or an escalation approver, okay? So if the form is set to, has the financial risk set to high, we have additional approvers. We have finance needs to come and approve this as well, okay? So the next step is for those approvers to come and give their approval. They review the same exact form. They give their comments. They might be able to change their own columns. So like finance should be able to change the finance columns if they have the right, if they have updated data and they know how to, it needs to be filled in. They have the right to do that, okay? And they send their approval or rejection with comments. And then the next step is when all the approval feedback is gathered, that initial reviewer comes back and does a final review. They review all the different approval feedbacks. Maybe there were comments. Maybe somebody said, oh, this other department should look at this too. And that gives the final reviewer, who's also the initial reviewer, the ability to send it out for additional approvals, okay? And it goes back to the approval step during this time. And when all of the approvals are received, comes back for final review again. And when the final reviewer / initial reviewer is all happy with all the approvals, all the feedback is good, they click a button that says the matter is completed and it's good. It should now be tracked. Now this row gets added to the home page of the spreadsheet view. And everybody can see it. All right, so that is the life cycle. I'd like to show it if I could. I do realize that a lot of people will be listening to this as audio only. So above my, my spreadsheet of data, I have several buttons. We can filter this. We can download this data as a spreadsheet if you really want a spreadsheet. We've got a button that the user can hide and show certain columns. Imagine there are hundreds of columns in this spreadsheet, and I don't want to see all of them. Maybe I only want to see the ones that are relevant to me. I can click on Hide Show Fields, and I can click on checkboxes to hide whatever fields, whatever columns of data I don't want to see. Okay, we can also hide certain rows, maybe after a certain amount of time, a distributor, a vendor, a litigation matter is no longer relevant. It doesn't need to be shown on here. Instead of deleting the data, what we do is we hide the data. And I've got a button on my homepage that says Show Hidden. So if you really want to see all of those things that were hidden, you can turn it on, you can see them, okay? I am also an admin, so I can see all the rows for all the countries. Currently, I only have the UK and the Netherlands. We have a column for the fees to date. So this is, it's collecting and it's totaling up all the different invoices that we're getting from law firms for this litigation. And it shows the fees to date, that total. It's in the country's local currency. So the Netherlands is in euros and the UK is in British pounds. And, but also I set so that the base currency for my whole system is euros. So after the British pounds of like 500, in parentheses, it converts it to euros, which 500 pounds today is 597 euros. So we can do that automatically. I do have the currency conversion. We download it for free every 12 hours from an outside website that gives us these conversion rates. So yeah, so you've got it all here. The next column I have is a color, which can be red, blue, or green. The user has to pick that from a drop-down menu. After that is a free text box. It's just comments. The user types in whatever they want for a comment. And then my final column is financial risk, which can be low, medium, or high. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the new button, and it's going to take me to a form that I can fill in. A new matter intake. It says fill in this entire form. You will next review and send out for approvals, final review, and the matter will finally be tracked. And we do have asterisks next to the mandatory fields, which I have set all of my fields to be mandatory. You could also make these not mandatory if you wanted to. Okay, the very first one, it asks what is the country of jurisdiction. We have the Netherlands and UK. I'm going to put it to the UK. The next is a color. Select a color. We have a drop-down menu with red, blue, green, and yellow. Oh, we do have a yellow. I'll add a yellow. The next one is a box, and it says comments. This is an empty text area. And this is, I do have a highlight of blue around this box because it is mandatory, and I have not done anything yet. And because this box is blank so far, my submit button is grayed out. So you notice I cannot submit this form until I have filled it in properly. So I'm going to start typing in just some comments here. And if you're watching this on video, or my button to submit is now colored in, it's no longer gray. So the user can submit this form. The next data field is the financial risk. It has a drop-down menu of low, medium, and high, and it's default set to low. If I set this to medium, all right, that's good. I'm going to submit this form. It is saving, it's adding a new row in my SharePoint. It's taking a snapshot. It's creating a PDF so that anybody can see it. All right, and now the page has refreshed. And I'm actually at a unique page for this exact record. I do have, I think it's an 8-character code that identifies this record. It has refreshed, and it shows that we are now on the second stage, the initial review. I am the initial reviewer also, so I see everything that the initial reviewer would see. I also receive an email directing me to come to this page, but because I just filled it in and it refreshed it, I'm already on the page. I got a pop-up immediately, and it says, you have additional approvals required. See below and send them out, or undo the change that triggered this. So we have something that triggered additional approvals already. I'm going to scroll down, and I see the same questions, the jurisdiction, the color, the comments, and the financial risk. The color, the comments, and the financial risk are all editable by me. I can change them with drop-down menus and text areas. The jurisdiction of the UK, I cannot change because that locks in like who the initial reviewer is, because I'm the initial reviewer for the UK. If this was to be going through like the Netherlands, this would be going to another initial approver, and they would need to be doing the review. Okay, so I can make changes to this, and below that I have a box showing all the data about approvals. Okay, and okay, so it shows me that Justin, who is a financial reviewer, is also a mandatory approver because the color is set to yellow. Okay, because I gave the answer of yellow as the color, it means this financial reviewer needs to come do a review and to do an approval. Okay, I could also have an email box where I can type anybody else. Maybe I see some additional details about this situation and I think, oh, this needs to be reviewed by this other department. I can put in an email address. It asks me what is the role of the person and what is the reason that they're being asked to give a review. Um, okay, and I'm going to click on this button that says send out for approvals because I already have an approval that needs to be sent out. I'm going to click on it. It's going to myself. I'm going to receive an email directing me to this page. Again, the page is refreshed and we are now on the approval stage, stage number 3 out of 5. I can come here now as a finance reviewer. I can review all the different answers. I do have an edit tab that I can click on, and it allows me to edit any fields that I'm allowed to edit, which if I was only in finance, I would only be able to edit the finance fields. But because I'm an admin of the entire system, I have edit rights of all of these fields. Okay. When I come down to the approvals box, and I see that I'm being asked to approve or reject this request. By default, the approve button is selected, and I can give an optional comment. I can say, I approve. I could also click on I reject, and then I would have to give a mandatory comment, but I'm going to approve this. Also, because I am the person who sent out this approval, I can withdraw the approval request as well. So I've got a cancel button that I could do. Let's say this person was out on vacation or left the company or maternity leave, whatever. I can come and I can withdraw this request and maybe I can put it back out to another person. Okay, I'm going to submit my approval. And the system is logging this. It's also checking to see if I'm the very last approver that needs to be done. I am, so it sends an email to the initial reviewer to come to a final review. And the page has refreshed. I am now I'm on the final review stage. I can change anything still if I need to, and I can review the approvals that have come in. I can see the comment. I can see when this person reviewed. I can see why they had to approve. I can see everything. And I've got a button below. Well, I could send out even more approvals if we wanted to and send it back to that previous stage. But I'm happy with this. So I've got a button here to give my final approval. And I do that, and it refreshes the page. And now we're in the final stage. The matter is tracked. Okay. Now anybody can come to this page. Well, who has access, who has country access or whatever, can come see this page. They can see all the different values for these different columns. They can see the approval history. They can see the final review history. I do have a box for subscribers. So anybody who is interested in getting updates when any of this data is updated in the future, they can just put in their email, or you can also put in the email of somebody else, like your boss, if they want to be alerted when there are changes. Okay, so that's the subscription feature. There's also a comments box. So even if a person doesn't have access to edit a specific column, maybe they have information that everybody else needs to know. And so they can add a comment, and that gets added to the comments history. Below that is the invoices. For my purposes, we needed to be able to track invoices with litigation matters. So every time a law firm sends us an invoice, doesn't matter who gets the invoice. Maybe somebody got it in HR or finance. Usually we want legal receiving these invoices, but various people might receive these, and we all need to be aware of them. So I've got an add button, and you can add an invoice with the date. The currency by default, it's the local currency. So over here we have British pounds. You have the amount, a note, and you can upload a PDF and you submit it. And as they submit it, it's added to this table here, and the system keeps a running count of all of these and then converts it to euros for you. Okay, below that we have a files box. Anybody can add any files that they want to be associated in the public record. And below that, the final thing, it's very, very important. It's a history log. It's every single change that has been made to this row, to this record. You can see anything. You can see the very first submission. You can see the initial review as it was sent out for approvals. You can see each approver and their comments. You can see the final approval. And then if I was to make a change, let's see, I go to edit. And let's say I change the color to red. and I click on save. Saving this, okay. Let's scroll down to the bottom, and it shows that I just edited the details. I changed the color to red, okay? So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying the system. It is so much better than a spreadsheet. We have just solved every single problem. All of those 6 or 7 problems that are inherent to spreadsheets, we just fixed them using a dedicated database system, okay? I highly encourage you guys to transition away from spreadsheets. I know they're easy. It's so simple. You just open it. Maybe it's just for you. Maybe you're the only person tracking something. You only have a couple of rows, a couple of columns. But after a while, you get more and more people added. More and more departments want to be using your spreadsheet, and it just turns into chaos, and you get such a giant, big mess. You want people to, maybe you want people to come once a month and provide updates. Well, you can't even tell if they updated it, right? You come and look at your spreadsheet and it looks the exact same as before. You might ask yourself, do I need to send an email to these people asking, did you come and look? You know, and maybe they email you back saying, yeah, we looked at it and it was all good, so we didn't even have to make changes. So every single one of these things could also be automated. I had one user who used my solution, and they asked for this specific case. They said, can we send out automated emails? You know, I'm tired of sending manual emails reminding people to do this. So we set up an automation. There are automation abilities in Microsoft Power Automate that on the 15th of every month, we sent automated emails to all the people, not all the users, but it was to our finance users. Oh, that reminds me, I should show you a little bit then in the settings. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my homepage, and I've got a settings gear. And when I go to that, I have several tabs. I can now edit all the people that are accessing my platform, because we need to know what country they're from and what department. You can't just have any viewers have to be registered to be able to come use this. So we show them only the appropriate data. And every user can modify what kind of alerts they're going to be receiving. So like if I'm an admin, do I want to receive an email telling me every single time anybody submits a new request form? Maybe I want to know that, or maybe I don't. I can check it or I can uncheck it. Each one of these events, I could receive an email alert if I want. Also, every time somebody submits a comment on a record, do I want to receive an email? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. And very lastly, I have a clock icon next to a checkbox. And this clock kind of a checkbox, it means I want to receive all of my emails in a single email each day. So instead of receiving 20 or 30 emails, I receive 1 a day with all these system alerts, okay? The next tab I have is the fields. And this is where the user can completely customize all the different columns, all the different values that can be put into them. If you want to restrict visibility to a certain department, or if you want to escalate when a value is like set to high, which department you want to escalate it to, you can do that all here. The next tab is jurisdictions. These are the different countries and the different departments. Also the base currency for the system and the currency for that country. You take care of that all here. Process. Process is who can submit. You can say only admins can submit, or only initial reviewers and the admins above can submit. Or you might say only a certain department or a set of departments can submit, plus the initial reviewers and admins. Or you might say everybody, all viewers, anybody coming to the system can submit. The next tab is emails. This is where you customize exactly what the emails look like. And the last tab is style. You can change the name of the site. If you don't want to call it litigation tracker, like I've call it whatever you want, like distributor tracker or vendor tracker or incident tracker, whatever you're tracking, call it that. You can change the logo. You can change the color of your banner. Let's see if I can let users see the color. Okay, so as I move this, I've got a slider, and it changes the color of my banner, like pink, purple, green, yellow, orange. Put it back to my favorite medium blue. Okay, and yeah, so I think that's enough. I'm going to check here on LinkedIn, see if there are any comments. Does not look like it. Do we have anybody who would like to come on and have a chat with me the last few minutes? Does not look like it. All right. Well, I'm hoping you guys are getting some good benefit out of this kind of content. Ah, I did get a comment. All right. It says, this is quite a sophisticated workflow. I like it. Thank you very much. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the live comment. All right. If you would like to get in touch with me, I am on LinkedIn, Justin Turman. You can find me. I'm the techie lawyer that is in Amsterdam. I'm originally an American lawyer, but I have lived in many countries, speaking many languages, enjoying the world. You might be interested in my previous podcast episode, which was just about my history, my background, letting you know more about me. And about that, you can find all the other episodes in podcast, YouTube video, and LinkedIn events. You can find them on my website, automateofficework.com. You scroll down, and there's a podcast section. And today's episode is episode 9. We try to do this every single Friday, a different subject every time, a vast array of different kinds of subjects. Okay, we also have lots of free resources for you to start. If you want to learn how to start coding like I did, if you're that adventurous, I've got some resources here for you. And then I've got lots and lots of articles that I write up on all different kinds of subjects to help you get started. Okay, I am available also as a consultant. I used to be a corporate lawyer for 10 years and I quit, and now I offer this service mainly to legal departments, but also not just legal departments, because at the end of the day, it's all glorified office work anyway. But because I happen to be a lawyer, I can also specialize and give you really good expert advice on how to do your work better. Okay, I do offer services in consulting where I can just chat with you, talk with you, tell you the direction that you should be going, which is highly valuable. Additionally, I can help you to put in place solutions. I can help you create custom solutions like the one that you just saw today. You might be able to say like, well, let's just take this off the shelf. It meets 100% of my needs. Otherwise, you might also say like, well, we have an additional step or two we need to put in there. So we can take this system that I just showed you, we can tweak it. We put it onto your SharePoint system, so you own it. All the data is yours. You keep it. Your data does not need to come outside onto somebody else's server. You don't need to pay yearly subscription fees. We put it onto your system. You own it. You keep it. And lastly, I offer education services. I can come and I can speak with your group. We can do exercises. We can do brainstorming events, all this. All right. Let's see. I got a really nice comment. Hi, Justin. I liked what you were just showing. I didn't realize my comments were on the full LinkedIn feed. I'd be interested to learn more. I have a client with a potential use case. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll be sure to connect with you. And anybody else who would like to connect, please feel free to connect on LinkedIn. Find me on YouTube. My email is justin@automateofficework.com, and also on my website, automateofficework.com. There's a big button at the top that says book a call. Just book a call with me and let's chat. And with that, I guess I'll see you guys all next week, and happy automating.